Everybody, I'm so delighted the fog lifted and you found the time and energy to get ready for church, and you came. Thank you. So, one Sunday morning, a pastor noticed that little Johnny was staring up at a plaque that hung in the foyer of the church. The 7-year-old had been staring at this plaque for some time. So the pastor walked up, he stood beside the boy, and he said quietly, "Good morning, son." "Good morning, Pastor," replied the young man, still focusing on the plaque. "So what is this?" Johnny asked. "Well, son, these are all the people who've died in the services," replied the pastor. "Some of you are ahead of me." Soberly they stood together, staring at the large plaque. Little Johnny's voice barely broke the silence when he asked quietly, "Which one, sir, the 8:30 or the 10:30? Thankfully, we have our services at 9 and 11, so there's no confusion. So now I've got your attention. We want to talk about love connection, or love and connection. I always feel wonderful when I've been with friends who love me for what I am, who support me, who endure the changes I want to make. And I realize we all want to feel deeply connected to other people. We want to be seen fully. We want to be appreciated by those and to feel secure in those relationships. I feel supported and listened to. I share and I learn, and those relationships give me strength, courage to accept me as I am in that moment, courage to explore more, and courage to try stuff, knowing that I'm supported whatever happens. And this has evolved from learning to love myself and to accept myself. Not that there aren't grounds for improvement. When we connect with people who really know and care about us anyway, it's a validation of who we are. In her book, Your Body is Telling You, Love Yourself, Lise Bourbeau writes, "To love yourself is to give yourself permission to live as you choose. To love others is to give them permission to live as they choose, and to let them carry out their own experiments. When you love yourself as you are, at any moment, in all your humanity, with fears, weaknesses, desires, beliefs, and aspirations that are all facets of who you are, you don't judge yourself or your actions as right or wrong, correct or incorrect. You accept every moment as an experience from which you will learn, thereby facing the consequences of your actions and decisions, whether they're pleasant or unpleasant. And this way you will achieve and maintain your balance in your life." So that love and connection that we feel in our lives begins with a choice that starts with how we connect with ourselves. And then it extends outwards and is represented by how we make decisions and choose our interactions. There's some interesting research that shows we tend to value physical possessions less when we feel loved and accepted by others, because the relationships provide a sense of comfort and protection, and they really are the most valuable things in our lives. Each one of us is born with a special gift to give the planet. I read a quote ascribed to one of my favorite authors, that's unknown, and it's a sibling of Anonymous. "There are those who make things happen, there are those who watch things happen, and there are those who wonder what the heck happened." I'm trusting we're all part of the first one. So what keeps you getting up every day? Ask yourself, what am I here to offer? For some of us, it's to listen. Some of us, it's to teach. Some of it's to nurture. Some of us can do all of those things. Perfection is not the goal. Wholeness is. So sometimes we assume there's something wrong with us for struggling in relationships, when it's actually our thinking that manifests everything that feels wrong. I'll never find that special person. I'm not attractive enough. Now, what do we hear all the time? Change your beliefs and change your life. It means about this too. Change your beliefs about the world and about love and relationship. So when we tell ourselves the same thing over and over again, we end up creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you tell yourself that people don't care, You put all that energy into the world and then easily find evidence to back it up. If you tell yourself you'll never experience love, you'll create mental barriers, and then you subconsciously repel love. That's sabotaging potential connections. So it's time to tell ourselves a different story. There's a lot of love in the world. There's plenty to go around. I deserve it, and it's coming to me every day. Now, instead of labeling this as lies and going, yeah, right, just remember to act as if. Your posture will be different. Your feelings about yourself will be different. And I'm sure there are countless other people who've been in that place before, feeling isolated, disconnected, and confused about how to change things. Other people experience something different but related. They have meaningful relationships, and they still feel that there's something lacking. There could be more love coming their way, romantically or otherwise. If you ever want to feel more love, open your heart. Give more love. The first step to feeling more loved is creating close relationships. And that starts with meaningful, engaged conversations. It doesn't have to be deep, it doesn't have to be spiritual. They just need to be honest, authentic, and reciprocal. You can initiate any type of exchange with anyone almost at any time simply by asking the other person, fully listening to what they have to say, and then finding common ground. Often when we chat with people, we're not fully listening. We're thinking about what we want to respond with, and we're waiting for a gap, waiting for them to take a breath. We're not only doing the other person a disservice, we're shortcoming ourselves. When we fully hear what other people are saying, we're in fact receiving love. So give the gift of your presence. Open your mind and consider that love might look different to what you think it should look like. And take responsibility for recognizing the love that's already around you. See and appreciate it, and it will multiply because you'll come back to potential new relationships with a sense of wholeness instead of lack, openness instead of fear. And give love when you're tempted to judge. Ultimately, this is how we all want to be loved, without judgment, pity, or condescension. Commit to giving this kind of love, both in your existing relationships and in all those new ones that you're going to make. This means that you look below the surface. You give people a chance, and in doing so, you create the potential for more meaningful, mutually supportive relationships. I know you might be thinking that friendships aren't the same as romantic affection, but we attract potential partnerships by radiating love. So take an inventory of all the people around you and who care about you, and it's likely that you'll find more than you realized. It's easier to pinpoint what we're not getting than it is to be honest with ourselves about what we're not giving. So give the type of love that you want to receive. Be the thing that you desire. You've heard all this before. You know it. I'm just here to remind you of your magnificence. Notice little things. Offer to help without it being asked of you. We'd all deserve to be loved by the people in our lives, but we first need to be willing and able to love ourselves. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's what it takes to feel deeply connected to ourselves and confident in what we can give. Love and compassion are the choices that start with how we love and connect with ourselves, self-love. Then it extends outwards. Study after study reports that as social animals, we need each other. We need to feel supported, valued, and loved. Those who have good relationships are happier, healthier, and live longer than those who report feeling lonely. And some of you might think it's too late, that the die has been cast. It's just not true. Reaching out creates new relationships and friendships a great deal of the time. And the moment we look outside ourselves for the answer or love or safety, we're giving our power away to whatever it is we're reaching for. And we disconnect from that truth that we all have inside us. This means that when we go within, we find the love and all of our answers. It's from this internal space of abundance and power that we manifest and create our desires externally. Observe your thoughts consistently and cultivate self-worth and self-love. Trust yourself. When we're willing to take responsibility for the choices that are going to change our lives, we have then fully stepped into our power. We're no longer in a state of confusion, making excuses and looking to others. Now, if you read Cheryl Richardson's book, Life Makeover, you'll recognize this. But if you haven't read the book, just pretend that I'm really brilliant and I thought it up on my own. My challenge for you this week is to imagine that every morning you're given a pocket full of love, and it's a really large pocket. Your mission this week is to empty this pocket daily. You may decide simply to say, I love you, to someone close. After all, it's Valentine's weekend, and it's usually the people closest to us that need to hear it the most. You may reach out to a coworker who drives you crazy. Offer to help them with a project. Maybe you decide to bite your tongue in the middle of an argument and instead offer a kind word. Now, that can be really infuriating if you're on a roll, but it helps stop and it heals. So regardless of the situation, decide right now who your first recipient will be. And as you're sitting here, imagine your energy of love reaching out to that person. As you empty your pocket full of love, notice how good it makes you feel. Don't panic, it's going to be full again tomorrow morning. You're valued, you're important. Know it, feel it, and act on it. And now I'm handing you over to our beloved Reverend Mary. She's going to put her dazzle on today's topic. She sings, she inspires, she does the bowl, she dings the bell. She's a wonderful teacher. I haven't seen her dance yet, but I bet she can. So let's welcome Reverend Mary.
Oh my goodness. Good morning, everyone. Again. I know Cathie started, we deliberately don't listen to each other's talks just in case, because we're probably going to say the same thing. So I have a story too, and it's one about memory. So there's two couples, this happened just the other day, right? It was the day after Valentine's Day, and there's two couples walking, and the ladies are up ahead and the guys are behind, and the one guy says, hey, Henry, what did you guys do for Valentine's Day? And he said, oh, my wife and I went to the most fantastic restaurant. Oh my gosh, it's become our best restaurant. That chef was amazing. Now it's our favorite place and we're going to go there all the time. And his friend goes, oh my gosh, you got to tell me the name of this restaurant. And he goes, wow, the name of the restaurant escapes me. Let me think. He goes, those things that have a stem, and then sometimes they have thorns on them. And it's, sometimes they're red, and sometimes they're yellow, and sometimes they're white. And the guy goes, Rose, is it called the Rose? He goes, no. He goes, Rose, what was the name of that restaurant we went to? And why that's relatable is we're here to remind each other, aren't we? We are here to remember for each other when we forget. That, it's not only that our reason for being here is about joy. It's about laughter. It's about love. It's about this high energy vibration that we're putting out. It's not about going to work and the daily grind and all that. That's all part of it. But we forget sometimes, don't you, when you're in the middle of angst to go, God, that's right, I'm here for joy. I'm here to express myself. I'm here to have love. But there's also another thing. There is a pattern of perfection in you and me that is at the very center of our being. And that pattern knows and guides us, but it can only guide us to the extent that we are dialed into it, right? We forget sometimes we are divine expressions of love. So look at your neighbor, please. Look at a neighbor and look them in the eye and say, you are a divine expression of love. Do you feel the energy in that room when we say that? Look at the energy in that room when you say that, just to kind of acknowledge like, oh yeah, I forgot, right? Emerson says, each man is a doorway for the infinite to become finite. But sometimes we don't open that doorway, do we? Sometimes we don't dial into what it is that we truly desire. And the universe reminds us we are at choice every single moment of our life, aren't we? We are at choice to pick and choose. But if things aren't showing up in your experience that you want, why is that? Why would that be so? Well, maybe it's because we're not in alignment with what it is we desire. We say we want something, but our internal belief doesn't resonate with that. So the two never meet because they're at cross purposes. So our first charge is we need to just clear out the old messages that we've accepted as ours and let them go. There's a story about a professor, and he gives a test. It's the final exam, and the students all come in, and he said, okay, I've got 3 tests here. I've got test A, I've got test B, and I've got test C. And each of you get to pick, as your final exam, which one you want to take. So the students all scurry up there, and they pick their different exams, and they sit down, and they write them all out, and they turn them in. And the professor says, well, stay here while I grade them. And they're all like, huh? Because they were essays. And they're like, how is he going to grade this so fast? I got to get going, and what's he do? So all the A's got an A, all the B's got a B, and all the C's got a C. And they're like, oh, that's not fair. I wrote the most brilliant paper of my life. And he said, wait. I was not testing your knowledge. I was testing your aim. I was testing your aim. Now think about this. When we're moving along in our life, we say, oh, but I've done everything. I say my affirmations. I know all this stuff. Why isn't this happening for me? Well, maybe what we need to remember is remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember that you are a divine spark, and all that God is, all that God has is yours right now. But we forget that, don't we? So think about this. You're standing in the hallway at work, maybe, and a coworker comes up and knocks you, and you spill your coffee all over you. Now, why did you spill your coffee? Well, you spilled your coffee because there's coffee in your cup, right? If you had orange juice in your cup, you would have spilled your orange juice. But the point is, you spilled what's in your cup. So think about this. When life comes along and rattles your cage, you're going to spill your cup, okay? So what's in your cup? What is in your cup? Is it joy? Is it abundance? Is it compassion? Is it forgiveness? Is it love? Or is it crankiness? Is it negativity? Is it upset? Is it anything that is unlike the truth of who you are? So we get the opportunity to reframe everything that it is that we want to do and bring about an experience. And how do we do it? By loving ourselves. And it means not only loving just all the good stuff, because we're all great and cool when everything's loving and wonderful and our relationships are happy and all that. But when stuff gets tough, right, it winds up being such a challenge to go ahead and shift that, doesn't it? I'm going to read you a quote from Abraham Hicks because I absolutely resonate with this. We've been, those of you that are in my class, we've been sharing this. Tell everyone you know, my happiness depends on me, so you're off the hook. And then demonstrate it. We're laughing because it's true, isn't it? Be happy no matter what they're doing. Practice feeling good no matter what. And before you know it, you will not give anyone else the responsibility for the way you feel, and then you'll love them all. Because the only reason you don't love them is because you're using them as an excuse not to feel good. I have goosebumps every time I read that. Because don't we blame our circumstances and blame everything that's going on around us for the way that we're feeling when we forget, oh, that's right, I'm in charge here. Rumi has a poem, it's called The Guest House, and in it, it's a long poem, but what he says essentially is, you know what, every single thing that shows up in our experience, everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, everything that shows up in our experience is a blessing. Everything is an opportunity for us to open up to an area that we haven't let light in yet. Does that make sense? I call it the can openers. So it's, I can, and they open me. I can love this person even though they're driving me nuts. I can bless my plumbing even if it's not working. You know, I can, whatever it is, We only can manifest in our experience to the exactness of our thought. So if something negative is going on, we created it by our thought, so we can uncreate it, can't we? Or we can create anew. So you don't like the circumstances you're in, change them. And we've got that beautiful saying, change your thought and change your life, right? And it is true. It is saying the power in you that operates by you can only operate by you as long as your blackboard is clear. But if you've got a blackboard filled with all the stuff that's got you upset, is love going to manifest through at that point? It will, but only in a limited fashion. We can only move through what we know in our own soul and heart. So see that, geez, goodness. Are you okay? Okay. Let there be light. Wow. Okay. You see, we never know what's going to happen. We're going to bless that light and send it into its divine experience and know Leonore has perfect healing and no hurt at all. Perfect. Yay. I think that deserves an applause. Yay for the light. See, so the thing is that that pattern of perfection that's at the center of our being, now we're all worried that the rest of the lights are going to fall. Everybody's looking up like the sky is falling. Somehow Chicken Little is coming to mind for me. It's all safe. We're going to know. The lights are in their perfect place. The lights are in their perfect place. But there is that pattern in you that does not know misfortune, it doesn't know upset, it knows negativity of no kind. But we bring it in, don't we? We say, God, let me tell you, you have no idea of the troubles I've seen, right? And we want to give a big laundry list of this is what I need help with. Well, guess what? God's standing back in smiling repose saying, I love you. You are divine. You have the power of the entire universe at your disposal. Are you going to use it? Or are you going to be busy complaining about things that aren't working, right? Because we get really strong. I always liken it to going to the gym. Now think about it. Think about our heart for a second. We know so much on this plane about our body, don't we? We know about our physicality. We know about all our circumstances. We know about all that going on. We go to the gym and we work out so that we have a stronger heart. We take nutrients to make our heart stronger, or we take medication to help our blood pressure, or whatever it is, right? But we know all that. But the universe is saying, wait a second. You forget that this is where it is. Like our purpose for life is to create and express our destiny, right? But our destiny is not out there. It's not in that out there. It's right here. And the moment we use our heart as our beacon to guide us into the right circumstances, everything falls into place. So no matter what happens, every time you're faced with any kind of challenge, from the tiniest to the most giant, remember you can always choose love. You can always choose to respond in love, even if it's uncomfortable. We have to love the entire journey, not just the good stuff, but the entire journey, because it's the entire journey that helps us remember who we are. So I say to you, you are divine expressions of love, and so it is. Yay. Thank you. Thank you.